Howdy folks, it's Meandering Mike in the Man Cave of Madness. It's the middle of the afternoon and we're doing an unboxing here of Battles of Napoleon, Eylau 1807. This is a Uwe Walentin design from Sound of Drums Games. It's volume 1 in their new series. This just arrived the other day from GameFound. It was the Kickstarter. It was a GameFound, right? Or was it? I don't remember. I'll have to check. But let's get the shrink off. And the shrink is off. And these dice came with it. These are particular for Eylau 1807. Special dice. They got the eagle. It's the Eylau on the, I bet it's the 6, not the 1. I always wish whenever anyone does these dice that one face is got a symbol instead. They should put it on the 1, not the 6. I just think that, one symbol as a 1 instead of a 6. Like I said, when they're on the high number, well, high's not always good. Sometimes you're a little low, whatever. I just think that's a Meandering Mike opinion, right? It's it doesn't affect the function of the game, except in my brain. When I grab a custom die, I would rather not think about it and just think, you got one symbol, it should be a 1, not a 6. You get used to it. I mean, just like most anything that goes against your first thoughts, first reactions, you can get used to it real easy. So. Is that a nitpick? Yes, that's a nitpick. But it's my nitpick, dang it. All right, so I'm going to put those here. And let's look here at the back of the box. All right, I'm going to focus down here a little bit. Let's tilt and zoom and let it refocus, I hope. All right. There we go. Game contents. 2 88 by 56 centimeter map sheets. So those that have those dimensions memorized in inches, what are they? I'm going to have to start researching this ahead of time, so I'll have those numbers off the top of my head. 1,120 counters. 15 millimeter counters. Are those half-inch counters? Was it 18 inches? 18 inches, 18 millimeters, that's 3/4. Was that 5/8? I don't know. Again, something I should look up first. 280 alternative counters. So if this is part of that, or is this an addition? Is that 1,400 total counters? Or is that a subset of those? 125 colored wooden cubes, 2 army charts, 2 player aids, 2 counter trays. That's nice. There's very few games these days in the war game type world that include counter trays. 4 dice and 1 rulebook. Again, the dice were outside the box. Special dice series was in the mailing box, not inside here. All right, so let's move this over here a little bit. So evidently that's supposed to be 2. Like on 2 people standing next to each other. Approximately 180 minutes plus. All right, so you have to count here these. No, not far enough. Is this out of 10 or is this out of 9 or what is this? That looks like 10. There's 10 of those. So this is a scale out of 10, 5 out of 10 for complexity, 7. Personally, I don't like this. If you do this, also put the number. People don't have problems with numbers. The entire world is used to dealing with Arabic numerals. No one uses Roman numerals anymore, okay? You don't have to worry about translation issues. Just so put a number next to it. All right. I'm going to zoom back out a little bit. Boop, boop, boop. And do a quick look here. Well, let me come back. Yeah, that's tilty angle. Well, I'm gonna lift. All right. So there we see the game in action. Those kind of look pretty nice there. So the blocks appear to be for tracking like strength of, like hits, which might be, and maybe statuses. I can't, there's little tiny stuff here. So we'll see when we get in here. So there's this could lead to less clutter on the map, which I like. I don't like, there's like one thing here that this looks like maybe he's in square, right? It's either a postage stamp or that's saying he's in square formation, right? I don't like too many counters. This status, that status, moved, activated, shaken, stirred. That's a James Bond joke, of course. But this is very problematic. I'm worried. You bump this, and oh my God, you've just lost track of everything about all these dudes. If these were recessed boards, where you have like a double thickness, and there's the full bottom layer, and the top layer has an inset, so that these cubes would sit in them, so that if you jostle a little bit, they're not going to go all over. So if this is what I think it is, I may have to figure out how to make that myself somehow. All right, let's get inside. You want to see the insides. Enough Mike meandering here from the outside. Let's open her up. First thing that we're confronted with is something new and unknown. Tally stick. I don't think it's a deodorant. Those little green trees you hang in the car. I think it's a measuring thingy of something. Whether this is telling victory points or measuring. So I assume you line up this red line. Of course, it's in exact science. Negative, positive on this side. This is going from 15 up. So what do you measure from 15 to 40? And what here do you have? Minus 10, 0, to positive 15 to negative 10. This will be interesting to find out. What is this tally stick used for? Not a stick of gum. It's not a deodorant stick. It's a tally stick. All right, so these are sound of drum trays. These look very much like kind of DVG deep dish trays. So I wonder if they got them made at the same place. These lids do not snap on at all. So that's problematic. You're going to have to use, of course, I'm going to say plastic bands, rubber bands or plastic bands or something, some strapping. See, it looks like they're supposed to snap on. There's little things there, but that does not. Does it go the other way around? There's something wrong with them. There's an indentation here. They do not appear at all to be molded in such a way that would ever work. So it's a tray. You can store your pieces. Just be warned. Don't expect that lid to stay on at all. You have been warned. All right, now, am I upside down? No. Okay, this is one of my pet peeves. This is the right way up in the box. This is upside down. Is this a nitpick? Absolutely. This affects nothing. This only affects this one moment here as I unbox, and the rule books are upside down. So, yeah, that is indeed an ultimate nitpick. But man, my aesthetics are offended. All right, so it's a little bit of a glossy. I'm gonna zoom out. The thing is, this is so thick, I'm gonna push it back so I can sort of hold up here. Now, before I dig into the rule book, let me just see how big it is. Okay, 32 pages to there, 34, so 36. 36 page rule book. Yeah, it starts in 3, 2, 1, 1. So the cover is like not counting at all. The table of contents starts on page 3. All right, so this is the main rule book upside down. This is the scenarios, notes, and history. Now, I'll tell you, I usually store my guys like the first one face up, and then I'll often, depending on how thick they are, I might do that one upside down. If you know how this gets thick, and if you put 5 folded over stapled things with those all on the side, this side gets thicker than this side. So I will alternate when I store them if they're that thick. But for these, I would just do it that way, but I'm being nitpicky. This is much thinner. This is the scenarios, notes, and history. And it goes through 20 pages. That's an odd, no, it's an even number, but usually you do these things in multiples of 8. That depends on the printer, who you're doing it, but oftentimes by doing them in multiples of 8, it's an easier process. I mean, obviously the exception is if something's only 4 page long, but a lot of times the bigger your rule book gets, it's like just go to the next, increment of 8 instead of 4. All right, counters. Oh, big, thick, and they are in shrink. Now, I've heard word from multiple places that some of these counters have real registration problems on the sides. Like I can see right here, this is closer this side than this side. This row, all of these are close. They are closer to the right side than the left. They're not abysmally bad, but it's closer than my normal comfort level. Now, the fact that these are pre-rounded corners, that's less of a worry. Now, we look here. Now, you're not going to see that too well. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to have to... I'm afraid we're almost cutting off some corner there, but we're not quite. We'll look at those more in a second. I want to get to the maps. We're gonna look at these because this is a concern. This is the marine. I wasn't planning on doing this unboxing. I was gonna who knows when I was gonna do this, if at all. But because multiple people were reporting we've got problems, I wanted to check and see, because if I needed to get replacements, I wanted to do that right away to make sure I got into the queue before, oops, they ran out and they're gonna have to reprint more and I'm gonna have to wait another long. All right, so here's maps. I can feel the slickness of them. They're not, oops, sorry, big fat hand there. They're a nice quality paper. Wait, these are not necessarily maps. These are, oh my goodness, these are not maps. All right, we spoke too soon. Let's, this is the French order of battle. I have to zoom back out. All right, so this, you can see in all its glory, the hierarchy, Napoleon and his guard, the cavalry reserve, 3rd Corps, 4th Corps, 6th Corps, 7th. Now, unfortunately, the guys' names on here are kind of small. These, it'd be nice to have the leader. So this is nay. Wow, I can't even from here. Salt. I always mispronounce that. It's not salt, but sol. Davu Morat, the sexy beast. Morat. Sort of. I can't even read that. Agrau. Of course, Napoleon's up here at the top. But yes, I would like to see not in a italics font, in bigger thing next to the core name, who they are. I mean, I can see the counter right here. That's fine. But if someone says, "Oh, grab me," Soul Score, which one is that? Maybe you guys have had all memorized for the. I sure as heck don't, right? Grab me this division. Grab me that division. All right. Battalions, regiments, battalions. So this is regimental cavalry attached to the division level, then individual battalions, and then what is that? Did they actually call it a company of artillery? I'm not sure. As opposed to a battery. All right, so not going to look at that in super detail right now, but to say there's also here for the Russians, Benningsen at the top. Again, just harder to see. Now, is that a nitpick? That is a nitpick, but it's a functional nitpick. So bear with me. Bear with me, folks. Ooh, wow. All right, this is the assault charge table. I guess they're assuming you're going to be handling these a lot, flipping them around. So they went with fully mounted fire combat table assault charge. And you got 2 of them. So each player gets one. And they are deluxeified. All right. Now, personally, I don't like italics. This is kind of fine across the top here. These bigger, bolder fire combat table and TEC. And it's interesting. Train effect start. Did they really need to use the acronym there? They could have spelled it out. But even I have a little problem with this font here. This font is a little hard to read. This is crisper, but it's still it's like a light italicized font. I can read this though, but this, it's almost like a semi-bold, and it's like a rounded serif or something. And I'm really having problems. These my eye quickly focuses. When I go to look at these here, it's getting old. My eyes are bad. I don't know. No, I don't like this. This is this weird semi-bold font here. Is that a nitpick? Again, it is, but it's not. It's a functional issue, and if it's hard for me to read it, I don't know. Hey, if any of you, let me know. Are your eyes good enough? This is a little less problem here. It doesn't seem as, but this, there's just something about this. Sorry, I'm trying to focus between, looking over the camera, looking through the camera. I did not be expecting to be focusing on this kind of stuff. So, yeah, see. This is crisp to me. This is crisp. I like this font, but it's big. It's more like, logo, iconic kind of thing. This even works, but again, this is not functional. This is just... All right, let's not dwell there. Now we're at the maps. All right, here we go. This is a map. I saw that color and I assumed that those were like order battle charts before on the map. And I was like, wait, these are the whole things. Okay. Wait a minute. Did this say on the back that it had 2 trays? 2 counter trays. All right. This is not a counter tray. This is not a counter tray. Okay, so you got in here cardboard-ish. It's already ripped out. Cheap, chintzy. There's another tally stick. One for each player, I guess. Excuse my French, but this is garbage. I don't know what's French. Le garbage? I don't know. I mean, yeah, this doesn't fit. It comes out. This is torn out here. Can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. This is trash. So I'll probably keep the outside part. I'll take this part out. The fact that the maps. Wait a minute. Let's see. We got more hardboard. Okay, these are what we saw for like the cubes, for the tracking the unit order, first activation, second activation, third activation. So it's not strength. You do have penalties after they've been activating units multiple times. They lose movement allowance. So they might be able to fight again, but not move very far in response. Initiative, fatigue, charge, yes or no. Here's the orders. Now this is a big army fatigue. What? Not sure it goes here. Okay, but this, the fact that this was on a thick board, well, it's gonna less prone to knock because it's on a thick board, but it still can happen. This is textured. This is a little textured. It's not rubberized. If it was rubberized, so I'm gonna give them this. They texturize this. This is less likely to slide around. But honestly, the best way would have been to do this would have these, the double layer board where, the thicker part forms a lattice work, a grid here, so that you put a cube in there and it sits in there. And if you bump it a little bit, it'll just rattle around inside. I mean, obviously, if you do that, they're going to go everywhere. But so give them kudos for this. All right. I'm sorry. They obviously didn't test this out. Have they used this before on a previous game? I'm just surprised that just moving around that they got that. I guess so. Crunch, crunch, crunch. Saggy waggy. All right. Don't dwell on that. You don't want to see me dwell on that. That's crazy. You want to see the good stuff. Back to looking at the good stuff. All right. Maps. I'm going to set this aside. So I don't know how many of you follow Ardwolf's Lair and maybe saw his video talking about his reaction and should I post my negative reaction, and a bunch of people said, oh, of course you've got to do it. And I sort of commented, hey, if it's sleep on it, if it's an honest review and you're not too harsh, publish it as is. If you feel parts of it are too harsh, edit it a little bit, do whatever. But I'm having a laughing. Now, maybe when I get to these counter sheets, we're only looking at one so far, and if underneath there's a bunch of guys that are worse, I might get a little upset. But This is an interesting map. It's grayish. I'm used to more like a sepia tone, but this feels very much like period. Something that might have got inked out. This font, this lettering, this, you see, I don't know, well, you can see that. I'm gonna zoom in here on, like, see this font here on this map, this works for me. This feels very period. The grayscaleness of it. Like someone was dipping their quill into the ink, maybe watering it a little bit as they sketched out this map in fine detail. Someone that was at the battlefield, or maybe some surveyor or engineer that's like, you know, someone who's like been at Eylau and they're like trying to decide, oh, are we gonna, you know, an urban planner or a fortification engineer, someone who would go to this detail. This is obviously not like a battlefield sketch kind of thing, you know, what's the positions and where do I, this is like for a document or some kind of important, like, oh, I must send this information to the emperor, or we're going to decide where to fortify or something. I don't know. This I like that feel of this. And again, even though it's grayscale-ish instead of sepia, you know, like Zucker's OSG maps, the brown, the sepia. There's something about this that is like, seems more authentic, period. Printing gray on a printing press, at least the modern one, is potentially problematic. Did you know that the Incredible Hulk originally was gray before he was green, but they're having difficulty keeping consistency of the gray inks, so they made him green. But this has, you know, that cross between watercolor, inked, a colored pencil, and so to me it feels like someone was using a quill, a nib pen or something, and was oh, look how light this is. So these look like these are setup positions, and they're very light and ghosty. I bet you, I mean, you probably can't even see that. I'm going to, there's one. Wow, can I get that right there? Yeah. Wow. So this one is the bolder color. It's near the edge. This is an entry hex. All right. There's one here too. But up here, look how light and ghosty that is. It's much lighter. I mean, it's in amongst the gray texture. It almost looks like smudge lines on this too, like someone was drawing this in charcoal pencil and there was some smudge or not. I really like that. I really like that aesthetic. These are very light, very nice. So that at a distance, you know, I didn't even notice them at first. There's one here. There's one here. Can you see those? Can you see those through that video? Knowing where they are now, I can see them. But I like that for a setup. This is nice. This is very nice. Let's see here. 2nd Division, the Cavalry Reserve, CAR, the 3rd Division, LWR, I guess it's the Landwehr. I'm not sure. Our Left Wing Artillery Regiment, is that what that is? I like it. I like it. Okay, so I'm gonna pick up the camera and I'm gonna tour around the map a little bit here. So pardon the movements. So here is the key in the corner. So we do have a rose, a compass rose. One mille géographique. So this looks about 2 what each hex looks about 1/8 of a mile, I think. If that's a 1/4 mile, that looks about 2 hexes. Of course, can't read this at all. But this is actual French. So I wonder if this is based on a taken from, a copy of, you know, in a good sense, a actual period map with things added. All right, I'm gonna look over here for you. The Turn and Weather Track. Again, that's a tough font, but this is more period. Obviously, this wasn't on a real map. This is like a roulette wheel kind of thing. This is kind of interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 12. Is that 12 hours? Are these hour turns? Hour turns at this scale. Did it say on the back of the box? I'm gonna keep that camera pointed there. Boop a doop boop. Scale, scale, scale. I don't see that here. Okay, so the rule book we're gonna look at the other map. I think there was 2, right? Whatever centimeter by whatever centimeter map. So I'm really digging this map. I really dig this map. Yeah, here's can you see that? So this is like woods along here. There's this big heavy road. There's like a little track. No, that's not. This is a stream. And this is like a lake or something, I think. Wow. So there's a problem there. Is that the frozen lake? No. Okay, we're gonna have to figure this out, but so far I'm grooving on that. I do want to know the scale of, well, let's get to the next map. Meandering Mike, meandering about here. Let me get the next map out. So, here, I'll zoom out. Althoff, Schmoditen, excuse my pronunciations, Ochlappen, Kuschlitten, Lampasch, and Greater Sauce Garden, up there, Sauce Garden. Windmill Hill unit there. So again, on this map, they've got so the French is a little more noticeable because of the flag. But here, this is harder to see. But they're good enough to find them, to set up the units. That eases things, speed things up. But they're very much in the background. So as you move and fight on this thing, it's just they're not gonna get in the way. Like, if you've played the Napoleon's Last Battles quad, the SPI version, the the units written right on the hex, like, oh my god, that's just too much. I just don't like that. That just ruins makes say it up really easy, except in that game, if you care about the unit designations, you're trying to read that little tiny stuff, that's a problem. And in that game, there was a few of the units, remember they were double-sided in Napoleon's Last Battles quad. It was like, normally you start on the front side, and if you're eliminated, you don't take a step loss. It's only when you're reorganized, when you're brought back on the map, you come back flipped over. Well, in a couple of scenarios, a couple of the units started on their flips, like they had battled earlier, the previous day or so or something, and you can't tell from on the map. It's just like you got to find that designation. Say, wait a minute, I don't see this number for this designation. Oh, it's because it's on the back side. So that was a pain in the butt. But anyway, I like this. I like these. Some of the problems finding some of them again here and here. These are like, I don't know. Can you see those at all through the camera? I mean, when I look through the camera, I can't see these. And it's like, all right, see now you can see them, I'm sure, because I can see them through the camera. Here, getting this close. But from a distance, no. But I can make them out from a distance here, but it's nice and lightly. I really like it. I like these maps a lot. A lot. I do indeed. All right. So let's bird's eye out it a little bit more so you can take a look at that. I think that's gorgeous. I think they're gorgeous. And it's just a question of the terrain or not. I mean, obviously the ridges, the hills, that was easy to see. The main roads and the towns, no problem. I really like the aesthetic of these maps. All right, so I'd also looked in the rules while I was getting that map out and furling it out. They are 1 hour game turns, which is kind of weird for a battalion where each units are battalions. And these are supposed to be 150 meter hex, approximately, you said. So that's what, about 12 hexes per mile for converting. So my rough gauge of that scale on the side to the thing was off, but that is what it's, let me see if I can find it again. Yes, game scale, section 5 dot game scale. Roughly 150 meters of actual terrain from hex side to hex side. Each strength point represents 100 infantry, 50 cavalry, or 3 to 4 guns. Game turn is 60 minutes. So that's an interesting scale. That's an interesting scale. Like, Napoleon's Last Battles quad, I believe it's 480 meters per hex, if I remember correctly. So that's about right. That's about roughly three times as much. I think that was 4 hexes per mile. So tripling that would be about 12. And that was hourly game turns. It seems at this scale that you'd want to go down to like 30-minute turns. I mean, 15 or 20, no, that's too, la bataille, nitty-gritty. But so we'll have to see how it plays at 1 hour turns. Now, remember, we saw that thing that had multiple activations. So maybe that's the thing with, up to 3 activations in a turn over an hour. Maybe this might be that great blend, this simplifying some things, but having enough detail at a certain level where you can actually, do the squares and the line and the columns, but not have to grind out the battle in 15-minute or 20-minute turns, So we will see. So I'm going to look at the rule book now. So let me close up this map, get out of the way. Now, some of you might be saying, I want to see those counters, Mike. I want to know how bad it is. I'll get to it. Let's do the rule book. Then we'll do the counters. I want to know too, but all right, we'll do the counters. All right. So, like I said, rounded counters, rounded. Zoom in all the way. Okay, you can see how it's definitely closer to one side or the other. Now, so they're closer to this side. So they're consistent in the flipping, the mirror. Oops, one pumped out. Zoop, zoop, zoop. They come out. Where'd it go? All right. A counter escaped already. I've already lost a counter. Is this possible? Do you see it on here, folks? No. Is that like, wow, it somehow flew all the way back under there. Can you believe that? It's like, so it's close to this side. We're just close to this side, right? That's the side. So the sheets are consistent in one sense, but not that you think, well, it could be mirror image this way, that way. But so it always tucked that way. Once physically, which might be a way to easily tell which side you're on. Are you hanging this side, or which way do you hang, gentlemen? Sorry, ladies. So obviously this is in line deployment. Is that close enough? Line deployment. Sorry for my chapped hands. Been handling cardboard. Oh boy, this is going to be a problem. Right there. Column, right? Line and column. And then we're going to be putting a marker for squares only. I popped it right back in. Maybe you don't need a tray. You just pop them in and out. Now, are those postage stamps or those square markers? I hope there's more than 2 squares for the entire French army. Weather turn. So let's assume somewhere there's going to be more. So here there are markers here. I was hoping, I'd heard it's supposed to be very marker light. Now what is that? Is that like smoke? Is that supposed to be smoke effect? I don't know, cannon and the muskets going off. Okay, there we go. Plenty of squares, Okay. STR move. Strategic move? Defend. So are these what you're going to put in the boxes on those and not cubes? These look counter-sized. Or do you put them on the map? If they're going on the map, I'm disappointed. Because I thought I heard this was a marker light game. I was hoping. Move, attack, defend. All right. So these, now see here, these have bleed. They don't care if you're closer to one side or the other. Now I can tell these guys are closer to the top. This, I don't care. It's like, I don't know, there's enough bleed. But when you got a square thing inside of a squarish rounded corner, I can totally tell that these are nearer the top here. So I definitely had some registration issue. I don't mind them at all on these flag banner things. I'm not sure what those, if those are like command and control points or something, rally points. What those are, don't know. We'll try to find out when we look at the rules. It's one of the reasons I wanted to look at the rules first, so I have a better idea of what some of these counter things are supposed to be. But see here, that looks, well, no, it's a little closer to that side. So that's interesting. That's actually the bottom. So it's not the same way. Here, this is closer to that top. So it's, I don't know. All right, 7 and a flag. What does that stand for? Well, there's 1s and 7s, and are those strength markers? Oh God, please tell me you don't put those on the map. On top of dudes. All right, so I'm seeing way more counters than I thought. Way more markers. What are they? Where are they going to end up? I mean, I wasn't hallucinating, was I? When I looked at the back of the box and I saw totally what looked like cubes on there. Well, there's counters up there, so there's definitely there's, you can't see that. Let me adjust. Fitzing around this. I'm trying to make the contents don't fall out. So this across the top, those are counters. And these are cubes underneath. So you do use counters to some degree. So you're picking your order, and then you're marking the activations, and then you've got, I don't know when or what these are. It's different color cubes. Let's see. I look at this part up here, and we only see the one. Oh, no, there's this one here too. Damn it! Excuse my French. Sorry. I'm just hoping that's a rarity. So look at all these guys with no marker on them. That's what I want. That's what I want. If there's, out of all these guys, what, there's about 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Out of 14 dudes, there's only 2 markers. That's not too bad if that's the density of markers. We'll have to, that might not be able to figure out until you actually start playing the game, right? That you might not see. And that's, that was just my reaction to the game, what I heard about it, what I thought I was getting. Yeah, Pollard markers, great. I hate Pollard markers, sorry. Oh no. Here's all your leader counters. Now these appear to be square in the square, in the rounded square. These appear to have perfect registration on this one. Yep. Looks good. Looks good. Oh my God, so many of these. Counter sheet 10. 10 of these. This is off. This is closer to the bottom. No, this previous one, this was spot on. This is, wait a minute, but this is closer to the side. This one's closer to the bottom. What? No, is that right? Maybe that's just because this is 11 and I didn't design the 11 very well. The 3, well, that's, this 3 here. Sorry, you can see what I was pointing to before. This 3 here doesn't appear, this 3 is closer to this edge than that 3. Or am I hallucinating? Am I nitpicking? I must be nitpicking. Artie is planted in my head, but this one is, I don't know what to, no, stop. I'm going to stop looking at the counters. These are functional enough right now. This is an aesthetic, this is like an OCD nightmare thing. This is like, oh my God, this one's close to that edge, but that's closer to this, and that's closer to that. I mean, how is that possible? This is what I don't get. It like, how is it possible? This had to be printed as one sheet, right? You didn't multi-pass this. I mean, this is definitely way close to the bottom here. That's way close to the bottom. God, did it get? I don't know. No, stop. I'm not going to dwell on this. They're functional enough. I do not want to become a nitpicker. No, sir, I do not. Oh, so many markers. I do not know what these are. I want to find out. Oh my God. They're not strength markers. Are they kind of some kind of command thing? Why are there so many though? Oh my God. Oh no. There's more here. Okay, these are all the orders. Oh my goodness. What are these? Is these counting down movement points? Oh my God. These are probably counting down movement points because of that multi-activation. And oh no, please tell me no. If I have to keep track of this, if I have to keep track of how many movement points are left for each unit, holy moly. Wow. Oh, good Lord. No, my God. That's why it's like stacking of 1, because you're going to have 5 markers underneath you. Because you're going to have a Pollard marker, you're going to have a smoke marker, you're going to have a square marker, you're going to have a movement marker. No, please, no. Oh, such high hopes was to be had. such high hopes was to be had. We will see. This is all speculation. This is Meandering Mike speculation. I do this, and some designers really don't like it. I ruffled some feathers when I did some of my unboxings or compare and contrast, and they're like, rah, 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 you didn't read this, you didn't. Dude, it's an unboxing. I'm exploring this. This is an unboxing and exploration. This is what I do. And if you want to tell me that, well, this is done this way, just do it. But like, don't attack it for what it is. This is an unboxing. This is an exploration. And I'm encountering the game from what I see here. And, I'm not saying this is a bad game. This is just like, I had certain expectations coming in. And some of it's like, this is interesting, and I like this, and okay, this is an order thing that's going to go on that chart. That's cool. You're planning your orders for your dudes. But I don't know what all these things are, and there's so many of them, right? I really thought this is going to be a marker light game. And the evidence of my senses is telling me otherwise, but I don't know the rules yet. That's very, very true. It's very, very true. I like the unit counters. I do. I like them. Let's zoom in more here and look at these Russians. These are, they're a little bit more to this side, but I'm not going to do all that. They're good enough for the most part. So we got various cavalry. So I think the artillery have like two different versions, limbered and unlimbered. So what is this symbol? This must be some kind of like a Russian guard unit or something, I would think. Okay, so yeah, see these chevrons on the side represent veteran. One chevron is supposed to represent a veteran. I guess two is like a guard unit. And if they have none, they're probably like, militia, rabble, landwehr. Almost all of these have at least one. Is there any that don't have one? These will do any. No, yeah. Here's. I'm tilted at a bad angle from where I was thinking. You probably were missing half of what I was pointing to. Let me zoom back out a little bit. That's part of the problem too. So here, these have one. These don't have any. All right. So there. So that is the rating of. I saw that somewhere there in the rule book there. So I think we've looked enough at those counters. Rule book. Like I said, table of content, plural. 2 whole pages of table of contents. Introduction, how the game is played, a very high level, telling you how the rules are organized, materials, game scale. And again, have to laugh. 2 counter trays. No. 1 counter tray with the substandard lid and 1 cardboard insert block holder tray that's so weak that it couldn't hold the blocks in place and it broke. It's the cardboard tore. So, dear companies, besides playtesting your games and your rule books, playtest your physical components. Do not do everything like on your tabletop simulator or your Vassal. Then get your production prototype copies from the printer, open up, just make sure everything's in there, and then say, print it. No, don't do that. Actually play your prototype. Like it's not a design prototype. It's a product run prototype, a production prototype. Play those. See what the box is like, what your inserts like, what your components like. Test for functionality, actual functionality of what you produced. Please, please do this, all right? You're better off not including a tray or an insert and telling people you got 2 counter trays than to do this. Now, some people aren't going to care at all. Most people throw out the insert. Now, most people aren't going to throw away a counter tray. But some people are going to throw this one away. They're like, oh, this is worthless. This lid, I hate this. I gotta have one that snaps on. Now, I'll use it. I've got plasti bands. I'll do that. But the thing looks like it's supposed to snap on, but it doesn't at all. It does not hold one iota. All right, so you're facing the vertice, not a hex side. All right. So the front's in line. The back is in column. Interesting to list the back first and then the front. Right? In English, we read from left to right, and you'd think you'd start with the front to the back. So that's just an interesting. That's a total nitpick, right? That's just a total nitpick. That's a nitpick. Totally. I'll own it. Yes. All right. So wasn't it here? Yes, veteran symbol. They don't say what they call it if it has no veteran status or if there's two, but I'm going to assume it's guards, and then it's going to be like, militia or green or recruits or landwehr or whatever you want to call them. Using the Pollard marker. Oh, I don't want to. Oh my goodness, is that what it is? Okay, so those red ones appear to be loss markers and Pollard, so you can use either way. Yes, these are loss markers. And okay, so you're not going to have both of these. You can have one or the other. Oh, thank God. I was worried that this was a loss for the Pollard style and this was like movement points remaining or something. Okay, so we dodged half of the bullet. See, meandering. You keep meandering along with me and we'll find this. A lot of, the vast majority of you had stopped viewing long time ago. For those of you who watch these whole things, thank you. You're who I make these for. If there is 1 or 2 or 5 of you that in the life of my video watch it to the end, you are who I make this whole channel. I've got 500 videos now. 500. And I only got 770 subscribers, I think. But, I'm not monetized. I probably never will be monetized. But you people who watch these, who want to discover, who like the talk about the systems, the examination, you like hearing me meander, it's all for you guys. It is absolutely all for you guys. All right. So, the cubes. Blue, French, green, Russian, activation. Well, yeah, sure. No, I don't know why you really need to. Oh, wait a minute. I wonder if this is like you grab cubes out to see who gets a turn. Because I was just going to say, so maybe it's like a cup. You put a certain number of activations in, and you draw them out. Who gets one? Because the French have got more activations, there were less of them than the Russians get one, and then you put it on the unit. So I'm hoping that's what it is. Otherwise, if it's just marking, you could just use one color. So I'm actually hoping that's what it is. That it's like not a chit draw, but a cube draw to see who activates. It's colored. There's a fire segment. AF. Okay, I think it was fatigue. Right, they're talking about fatigue. So maybe this army as a whole. That there's that box, and you get because it was all one big box. Right, this down here, army fatigue, army level fatigue. All right, yep. Here you go. Oh, you could regroup and get +1. Which means take one out. Is it the backwards, like minus, but you put them in here to count them, or should it be plus? You're adding fatigue blocks. So this could have been done the other way around, maybe. So I like that. An army level fatigue, doing these different activities. You've got individual activations by the division level. The cavalry reserve, those might be corps. I'm not sure. So I'm liking that so far. I'm liking some of these aspects. So we'll have to see and find. I'm not gonna. this has already been a way longer unboxing than I wanted to do, but I get to exploring sometimes, and there's some interesting things going on in here. I'm trying to like, what the hell's going on? Excuse my French. Love the maps. I just hope the forest / swamp / river lake, if that's actually it's not super distinguishable, but everything else is. And if those are like that's just cosmetic, but if it's not just cosmetic, then it's like this might be a little tough to interpret where those are exactly. Sequence of play, weather determination. Okay, let's keep moving. Leader rating, initiative rating. So, sorry. Gotta get my angle right. So over here, leader rating, initiative rating, command point. So not sure if, like, your leader, like Napoleon and Bennington down, like you have a certain number of command points. Well, see, this guy doesn't have a command point. So are these the guys that can do? So Murat can lead other guys underneath him, and these are guys that can't. Division leaders. Yep, French corps leaders. Well, no, see, if the French corps leaders don't have command points. It's Murat. He's by himself. He has special properties. He's all by himself. he's rule 8.44. Murat, the sexy beast. Okay, that's interesting. So army leaders have a leadership rating, and then so does Murat. So he's got a command rating. He's got a command rating by himself and can change an order of 1 cavalry division, it says. Interesting. Okay, he is a sexy beast. All right, weather and evening, as most people say, night. The last game turn is 7 p.m. Sun goes down. Sight was limited for both sides. Okay. Orders phase. Bunch of fatigue stuff. Command points. If a division leader is within 12 X's of army leader, an order change costs 1 command point. If the division leader is within 13 to 18 of army leader, it costs 2. I like that. I like that a lot. I really like that a lot. All right, here they are. Napoleon has 6 command points. Bennington has 4. Murat has 1. All right, so you give guys orders. They keep doing that thing until you tell them to change. If a division leader is farther than 18 X away from army leader, he can only be changed by a successful initiative roll. All right. Okay, I'm digging that. That's so far not too bad. Orders, move order, strategic move order, defend, regroup, which we saw modifies the fatigue in the positive way. Hold, retire, move at 1.5 times their speed, must move away from the enemy. So we're not routing, but we're retiring. An attack order. At the beginning of a scenario, determination of available activation cubes. Here we go. Players roll die 6, add it to the modifier indicated on the game term track and the leadership rating of the army leader. This is the total number of activation cubes the player has available for his army this game turn. In a bag. They say use a bag. They don't. If you're gonna do a bag, supply one. You know that these branded dice, they should have had branded a bag. Otherwise, just say put it in a cup. Okay? Seriously, if you're doing a bag builder game of whatever, what kind of chits or tiles, stones, have a branded bag. Place the number of activation cubes of each army and the 2 fire combat cubes in a bag. These are drawn in the activation segment. All right, right there. So now that's interesting. And the leadership rating of the army leader. So I'm probably not including Murat. So probably Napoleon gets 6 plus a die 6, and the Russian gets 4 plus a die 6. So, Bennington could, on a given turn, get up to 10, and Napoleon could only have 7. The leadership rating of the army leader. Yeah, Murat would not be included. All right. Army fatigue. Okay. So that's it's also morale, right? This is the burden of actually doing physically exhausting things and things that affect your morale. Because you talk about, eliminated units, worse if it's a guard unit, leader casualties. So the attack orders give you 2 fatigue, move, strategic move, defend, and retire give you 1 each. Taking losses, and then the capture of cities here. And it's a control marker. It sets a certain number. Let's see. Now, does this inflict that much on the enemy, or does that reduce your accumulated army fatigue points? Don't know. Not going to dig into it that much. Yep. Orders and the activations. So you draw an activation, you decide who you want to activate, but if they've activated more than once, they're getting a penalty on their movement. Okay, I like this system. I've actually been contemplating. I'm a comparative gamer. I like to compare a lot of different designs, and I've been thinking of ways to modify shit pull, where there's certain times where you reintroduce things to the cup or add new things that are certainly, it can potentially be too complicated, but there's certain dynamics that you can only model if you do some creative and interesting and different things. And this is sort of something that I had in mind, but not to this level of like reducing the movement allowance or something. Having like a bonus activation where maybe you get a plus because it's a certain kind of situation where you're the counterattack comes and you get another activation, you get a plus, or maybe it's a minus because of fatigue or something, but not quite to this level. So this is going to be another thing to add to the toolkit for like different ways to model these things. So mass cavalry charge. I really need to start spending more time working on my design stuff, and I think what I need to do is I need to integrate that as part of channel content. Like I was doing unboxings based on the research I was doing on my Greek heroic journeys card game, which I'm still working on, but it's like I'm at the balancing point of these certain mechanisms, and it's a tedious thing. So I've had a lot of other things get in the way, and so I'm hoping the second half of the year I'm going to be able to get back to that with more attention. All right, so that's interesting. In column, okay, this is interesting. Their flexibility in column, you have 4 front hexes and 2 rears. In line, you have 2 fronts, 2 rears, and flank. And so in line, you literally need a line of guys to protect each other's flanks, right? And then on the end flanks, do you refuse the line? Do you have cavalry there? Do you have maybe I haven't seen nothing about skirmishers in here or anything. Or do you have someone in column ready to maneuver and react to anyone that tries to come up that you engage them with? So I like this a lot. This differential, what do we call that? The deposition of your facing, sort of the what's front, what's rear, and you have a flank or not. And these guys in column have that flexibility that they don't have a flank, that they can pivot and maneuver quickly enough to address that kind of issue. But obviously their firepower is going to be different. Now, you have the same firepower rating here. So is that, see, that's normally what I would not expect. Or if that's strictly the rating of men and not a firepower per se, so I'm not sure about that yet. That may be, in which case then the only differentiating is the veteran status. Like, 2 different nationalities. If you have a 7 strength infantry guy Are all 7th strength infantry guys the same if they have the same veteran status? Or would you say, well, no, because of the French training, or they're better, let's go earlier, this British unit using rifle has a longer range or something, how do you differentiate their firepower differences, whether it's like a shock melee or firing from line? Don't know that yet. Might not find that. Yeah, let's breeze through here. Stacking order of a hex can only be changed at the beginning of the activation of a division. There's no movement point cost for stacking or unstacking. Stacking, we have 2 infantry battalions, 2 artillery batteries, or 1 cavalry regiment. They are cavalry regiments. What did I say? Corps? No, yeah, because it's like the divisions up. It's not the actual. For this, the actual units are battalions, but this is like, okay, you activate the whole division, you're moving battalions within it. So you have cavalry regiments, but this level here could be a cavalry division, or it could be a corps. Don't know. Okay, here's the firing arc, which is exactly the frontage, right? So that is the front for artillery. Movement. Fire combat. Occasions, 3 occasions. Simultaneous fire combat when one of the 2 fire markers are done. So interesting. You're maneuvering around. You're doing this. You activate. So when there's fire, everyone fires. Defensive fire, when a unit is being charged, it may fire. Reaction fire combat, when the enemy unit is leaving an adjacent front hex. So if they were next to you and they're moving away, you can shoot at them in a reaction. If they're charging you, you can defensive fire. Otherwise, there's those 2 fire cubes in a turn. So you have between, what was it again? Minimum could be 5. So Benningsen could roll a 1 and have his 4. He could have 5. The French could have up to 13. So the worst kick is 5 Russians and 13 French. And the best for the Russians is if they have 11, roll a 6 over 10, and the French only have 7. But there's always 2 fire cubes where everyone shoots. So you don't know when it's going to come. Okay, I really like this. This is a great fog of war aspect here. So I'm assuming you're assigning your orders, each side, not seeing, and then I guess as they activate, you're going to see, oh, this is the order they've got, and so the other side's going to know what their order is until, the subject could be changed, right? Using that command system, and you're going to be maneuvering, potentially charging or not, maneuvering in and out of that, and then at some point, now, so assault and close, we're not sure exactly how that happens, but for fire combat, you're not sure when it's going to happen. It's going to happen twice. You could bam, bam up front. It could be at the very end, somewhere in the middle, spread out, I like that. So there's definitely stuff here I am seeing that I like. Now, didn't we just see the same thing? Artillery fire? Artillery. Yeah, it's the same thing. Front unlimbered, front gun mode. I don't know why they had to use that twice. Cavalry evasion, line of sight, ridge. Let's see, he's on the top. What, really? Woods. Wait, there's woods there? Okay, this is the problem. So supposedly, you zoom in, there's texture there that's woods. I mean, this is obviously a hill. But I can't detect any woods here from this picture. That's going to be a problem. We're going to have to look at that a little carefully. I'm going to have to go in there and get some of my very light watercolor and paint the map or something. That might actually, I mean, you could totally mess it up, or it could look really cool. Assault. Okay. Units of a division with an attack order may assault after movement of all the activated formation is finished. When all of the activated formation is finished. When he wants to enter an enemy, it must declare an assault. All right. Cossacks. Check to stand. Losses. Sorry there. I'm sort of not always lining up what you're seeing there with what I'm doing, so apologize for that. I'm feeling a little groggy at the moment, but slept okay last night. Didn't get a lot of sleep the night before. Oh man, I did not get anywhere near enough sleep. That was bad. Recovery. Recover strength points when they're under regroup, hold, or retire. So besides potentially getting removing army fatigue, you can actually get strength points back and getting the stragglers. You know, some people are patched up, some people are just lost or sort of ran away, but there's always lots of stragglers. But I mean, there are dead people. But all right, the glossary here. This should have been near the front, I think, in this case, especially as this small, and the fact that they're not big. Sometimes, you have the glossary at the end, or you have a lot of annotation, a lot of, this is like MP, movement point, AC activation cube, army fatigue point, strength point, initiative check, command point, DRM, die roll modifier, which 90% know what. DR is for die roll. No, DR should be defend retreat. Oh, capital DR is 2d6. Don't like that at all. Using capital D small r and capital D capital R as 1 or 2 dice. No. Use the 1d6, 2d6. Do not do this. That's no. Sorry. That's a Meandering Mike peeve. LOS line of sight. Yeah. So these should have all been in the front. There should be, just that little thing there. Yeah. All right. So the only thing we haven't looked at yet is the. Do I have it? Sorry, folks. I should have paused there for you while I'm grabbing this. I'm off my game. I wasn't expecting to do this unboxing today, and I said, I'm gonna do it. I've got to find out. Oh, the counters aren't as bad as I feared, but they annoy. It's annoying. It annoys my aesthetic OCD-ness. They're not that bad. They are functional. I have not found a non-functional counter in there. Nothing's cut off. I can read them all. It's just annoying. It's just aesthetically annoying. So that's really a nitpick. But dang it, dudes, you should have discovered this. You should have had better quality control. How in the world, the way it's off this way than that way, and on one counter it looks like somewhere off this way. That is weird. Like, what did you do? How did you engrave these, or did you do something weird with? I mean, it doesn't make sense that you're using some kind of photostat engraver or anything. It's like, I don't know. How did you create these counter shits? Sorry, Marks. Counter shits. Yeah, I am going benutzos here. All right, so looking at the scenarios. Let's look at the table of contents here. Battle for Night Quarters, 7th February 1807. Murat's massive cavalry charge. Davout's attack. Lestock. I'm not sure if that's the correct way to pronounce that or not, but Lestock saves the day, and the Battle of Eylau, 8th February 1807. Historical background and designer notes. So, Battle for Night Quarters. Different shoots on the map. So they all enter. So this is a fixed number of activation cubes, and there's only one fire coming. So this is a small scale. That's from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. All formations are under attack orders for the entire scenario. Whether it's clear, you skip certain phases, ignore all Army fatigue cubes, initiative, activation of the guard, and mass cavalry charge. The French will get 6. The Russians get 5. Only 1 fire combat. So that's interesting. That'd be nice, smaller scale to get used to some of the rules. Marat's massive cavalry charge. Use only the south map. Start at 11 a.m. You ignore army fatigue, initiative, and activation of the guard. It is snowing with the first turn and then clears. It's a 4-turn game. 7 activation shits each turn with 2 fire combat. So that's interesting. So even though Marat's there, well, he still would have his command point to change an order. Well, what does it say about orders? Start the following game turn phase. Order phase continue phase 6. Yes, it doesn't say. See, they're not all under you. So you do orders. All right, Davout's attack, south map only. Not gonna look at the detail. Le Stuc saves the day. The French battles high tide. Prussian corps of Le Stuc counterattacks the advanced Third Corps. So is this the Prussians serving under the Russians? Is that it? That's the first two. Well, those are battalions. So that's artillery. See again. This is the size up here. The regiment. Le Stuc. There he is. Which sounds a very French name, but he's a Prussian commander and he's working for the Russians. All right. I need to read up more on the Battle of Eylau. I have only very cursory readings of it, and that was many, many years ago, which I've forgotten more about it than. My knowledge is scant at this point. It's a problem when you get to be my age. You forget a lot of stuff. I know so much, and I've forgotten so much. Skirmish formation. So, I want to definitely read these designer notes and stuff. That'll be very interesting. I should probably read those first. It'll give me a feel for the system and the interactions, and like I've, pieced through and figured out a bunch of stuff. Just thank God you don't have both those pollard markers and those red flag things on there, but still I don't like the pollards. I don't like the fact that you can have 2 battalions, and I'm assuming a leader, and I didn't read that carefully what the stacking was. It was like, okay, it's not just 1 per hex. Like, for some reason, I thought, maybe I'm mixing up with some other game. I thought that the stacking was only 1 per hex for some reason. All right, here we are. There's this, because there's Danzig and there's Königsberg, so it's all around there. Maneuver, battle. All right. So the big battle of Eylau happens at 8th December 1807. So this means they don't have a campaign of the whole thing. They've got the little subsections, but there's no way that you flow from one to the next with the results of the previous one affecting this. I guess it's out of the scope of the game in terms of trying to do that. So that's something that obviously, just some of you know that I did the American Revolutionary War battles on the Western frontier, along the Mississippi and in Florida. And I tied them together in a little campaign system where, it was just a minor little thing, but the side that won, the one will get a little bonus in the next game in the series. And certainly something like this here, you could do something the same, like affect your army fatigue points or something. I mean, you don't use them in that first scenario, or the second one, but you could do something. You could give them an extra command activation, or I don't know, something, or one extra command point or one less command point. Napoleon, well, he's not in those early ones. He's in the last one. But maybe he got bad information or something, or he's disappointed in Marat. I don't know. Army fatigue points, 210. Army fatigue points, 220. So this is like a morale level, really. And you're spending them, you're getting down, and I don't know when you get to a certain threshold what the effects are. We didn't discover that, but obviously if you start with this number, and that's why it's minuses and plus, you're spending them. It's like spending morale. Well, I think we're going to need to call it there, folks. Look at that map. Of course, I can't read that at all. But notes on the order of battle and divisions. So this was an unboxing of Battles of Napoleon, Eylau, Volume 1 in this series. Sound of Drums games, which, so Sound of Drum Games GmbH. It's not a German company. It's, is it Swiss or is it Belgian? I think it's Swiss. Looks very interesting. So far, I like the aesthetics of the map, the grayscale. The woods aren't hard to detect here, but if those actually streams mean something, and all this here, is this frozen over? It's February. Is that the lakes that are frozen? Is that why they're like that? But obviously let's assume that those lakes are all frozen, right? That's what I'm going to assume. The woods are relatively easy to see, but they weren't. They were in that one thing they were mentioning. There's woods there, and I don't think there was. I think they were looking at something like this, and those weren't woods. We got these hill ridges, but what they were saying in that picture was not. Yeah. These woods are all adequate, and if all these streams and little lakes are frozen, no problem. And this is just perfect. This is perfect for winter. And again, it gives just a period feel. I mean, not even the weird. I like this gray scale, gray tone, grayish look. Oh yeah, someone penned this. It's amazing. So anyway, and then the counters. So some people's counters might be more off than others. I saw a picture of one that definitely looked like something got chopped off. None of mine were chopped. I mean, obviously, there's things with bleed in the color that were designed to do that. That some things overlap like this, and that's meant to be, right? But definitely some of these are getting close to the edge. So quality control could be better, guys. And absolutely on your tray insert on the bottom, go back to the drawing board, do something different. Either get rid of it or just take the center part out, leave the edges so that you can put your cubes down there in baggies and whatnot. The boards or maps can sit on the top. That's fine. And then you put your counter trays on that. Maybe I like to have the counter trays on the bottom usually, but you got that cardboard tray thingy that's not a counter tray. Don't call it a counter tray. But I like to have usually the rule book on the top of the maps. But sometimes if the rule book's just too plain Jane black and white, I'll sometimes put the map on the top, especially if the map has the title of the game. Like this doesn't. That has a really cool turn track. That's just cool. Let's see, where's the other? So like this here doesn't say Eylau, the main town, or they don't have just the logo of the game or something. So I would not, well, there's part of Eylau, but yeah, I would not put these maps on the top. But for some other games, like where they put the title there with like a box or something, and if it's a black and white rule book, I'll put the map on top. But in this case, I'll definitely put the map underneath the rule book. But these things could go above that weird cardboard insert tray in the bottom. That's for the dice. Still didn't learn what those those measuring doodads were for. And tally stick. Didn't learn what this was for yet. Minus, plus, minus. Don't know what that's for. Don't know what that's for yet. All right. We had two of those. I'm just seeing this, and it's so I'm going to guess this is one of the things that Aardwolf sort of started that conversation to finish it. But that might have been one of his concerns, his rants, and his unboxing. So it'll be interesting to see those. Now, some of you out there, like, why are there so many unboxings? Isn't one enough? You know, like, dude, there's so many content producers out there, and people have different styles, and people subscribe to different stuff or not. And you can search, and you can find what you want, and you know, choose the style unboxing you like. There is absolutely room for more unboxing for especially games with a fair amount of detail to them. You know, this is a big game with the number of counters. So many of those are endless amount of pollards and step loss markers. Oh my goodness, I hope. Start with the smaller scenarios and I'll be fine. And then we'll see what happens if you play the big one. Hopefully there's not that many guys getting chipped away across your whole army where everyone has a loss or two on it. So, Meandering Mike, Man Cave of Madness, Eylau, unboxing. Going to call it quits here because, good Lord, this is way too long. So, to all you good folks out there, thank you. If you got here again, you are the people that I do this for. There might only be one or two of you out there, but I do it all for you. Thank you very much. And if you've probably gotten to the end here, you're probably a subscriber, but maybe you're not. So please go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video, etc. Comment. Let me know what you think of this map style. Do you like the grayscale? Very period. Good for the winter. Some people like color. What do you think of these setup spots? I like them. I like them how they're light. They fade in. I can easily sort of ignore them with my eye. Yeah. Here. Like it. Counters look very aesthetic. The unaestheticness is when you look in too close and see that they're not perfectly aligned, but they're good enough. They're good enough. They are. So if any of you guys had really badly misregistered ones and anything got shot, that's unfortunate. Definitely get those replaced. Talk to the dudes and get replacements. But you know, if they're like mine, you just got to roll with it. And it would have been nice for them to be much better. But there's no way I would ask for like replace these. It's not a perfect. There's 1,000th of a millimeter off. No, Don't be that guy. All right, folks. I'm going to sign off now. So remember, folks, take care. And take care of your games, including the little trays at the bottom. Throw those little cross pieces out. Take care of your games because they will take care of you. Ciao.